In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this type of a square that has a flower. In the center of my squares, one starts with a circle and the other starts with a flower, which is set inside of a granny square. You can see that the pinwheel pattern that is on this is right there. So I'm going to start with this first. We're going to do the flower, and then we will set it inside this, and the process beyond that is the same as this. Here we have our flower. Now we're going to learn how to put the white square behind the flower. All right, now what we need to do is, I'm going to point this out on the back side of this. We're going to make a loop from the center of the petal, from between the two petals. We're going to make a loop that kind of goes like this. See how this is like this? It's on the back side of, so because these, see how the petals kind of lift up a little bit, and so these stitches are coming from underneath. That's what it's going to look like. So I just want to show you that so you could see. So we need to come onto the back of our flower, and between two petals we need to pick up a back stitch somewhere here, and then we need to pull our loop so it's attached between the petals, but it's on the back side. You don't see the stitches on the front. And then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We go again to the next space between the two flowers. Just pick up a back stitch and we'll do a little slip stitch right here. Pull it through there, pull it through here. And so what we've just made is a little loop right here. That's what we're going to hook our the granny squares, these stitches, each one of these. Now that we've hooked it there, get out of here, thread. Chain 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Go to the next space, pick up a back stitch somewhere, and just do a slip stitch. Pull it through both. Then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. This part won't even be seen. It's just, we need to make this a sort of a connector. Slip stitch. Okay, and then chain 3. Pick up a back stitch between the two petals and hook it, slip it through that, and slip it through our stitch on the needle. Oops, I split my thread. Gotta put it back together here. Try not to split your thread. Okay, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Go to the next space between the petals, pick up a back stitch and do a little slip stitch, and then chain 3. 1, 2. I'll show you what this looks like in a minute. Back stitch, do a slip stitch. 1, 2, 3. Just got one more to do, and then we'll be back to the beginning. Slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, and I'll show you what this looks like when we get back. We're back to the beginning, and I'm just going to do a slip stitch. So the front of the flower, you don't see the stitches that we just did, but the back of the flower, you can see that we have these loops. See, this is a loop right here. It's a loop. We're going to be using those loops to connect. All right, now that we've got our loops, and see, you don't even see it on the front. Now we're going to start, I guess it's like a pinwheel. All right, chain 1, 2, and then we're going to do a double crochet. And then we do another double crochet. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3. The first 2 chains counts as 1, and we did 2 double crochets. So I'm in the corner. I need to make 2 chains, and then we're going to do the same thing in the same place, same loop. We're going to do 3 more. 1. These are double crochets. 2, 3. So we've just made our first corner, just like we did here, where we have 2 of these in the corner. Now we're in the center. For this one, we don't need to put a space between because of the size of the flower. So we just go to the next loop. We've used this first loop. Now we're going to go to the next loop. And we're going to just do 3 double crochets in that loop. 1, 2, 3, and that's the one in the middle on the side. And then we go to the next loop, and we're going to do 2 sets of double crochet because that's a corner. 1, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets, and then we chain 2 because that's our corner. We do again 3 more double crochets. 1, yep, we do lots of counting. 2, 3. All right, we go to the next loop. This is going to be the second side, so we do just 3 double crochets in that place, which is the side. Okay, now we go to the next, which is going to be a corner. So we're going to do 2 sets of 3 double crochets with 2 chains in between. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets, and I'm going to run out of yarn in a minute. I'll have to go get me another skein. Okay, I got 3, so I do 2 chains, and then we do 3 more because this is the corner. 1, 2, 3, and we go to the next loop and do 3 double crochets to form that side. Whoops, I split my thread. I gotta take it off and do it again. Be very careful not to split your thread. Okay, I can see that I'm running out of yarn, so I'll get to show you how to add on more yarn when you run out. But I gotta go find my yarn, so I will be back in a minute. Okay, I have my yarn. This is baby yarn. It is acrylic thread, and the gauge is a number 3, and that's what I've been using for this blanket. You can use larger ones. The bigger, the heavier the yarn, the bigger your granny squares are going to be. Okay, how do we join thread? We have 2 ends. We're going to do a knot that I learned in Girl Scouts. We take one end and we form a loop. Okay, form a loop. Then we take the other and we're going to go underneath, and we wrap it behind like this, and then we go, oops, come on, down in the loop. So you see the loops are intertwined, okay, and then you just pull it, and that's how you join 2 ends together. So I can continue on. See what it's looking like on the back. All right, where was I? I just did the middle of the 3rd side. Now I come to the corner, so we go to the next loop and we do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. You can see I'm coming up to my knot there. Just want to make sure that these ends are going to be on my back side. Chain 1, chain 2, and then go do 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and 3 double crochet. Oops, I caught somewhere I wasn't supposed to. Okay. Now we do our last set of 3 double crochets in our last loop, and that will complete our square. And then we come back to our beginning, we're on the last side, and we come up to the top of that place where we did 2 chains, and we're going to just do a slip stitch. And I need to reach for my scissors because they're out of my reach for the moment. Okay, cut our thread because we're going to change colors, and I want to bring my thread to the back side. And so now we have a square with the flower firmly attached, and see the back. See what the back looks like? You can kind of see the loops that were made. See? There are 8 loops and how we used them. So the flower kind of sits down inside of there, and you can see that the flower is slightly raised. Okay, these petals slightly curl inward, and that looks really good. Now we go on to our next color. Let me decide what color that is, and I'll be right back. Okay, you actually know what to do from this point on, but nevertheless, I will show you. So we have our flower within the square. I'm going to pick right here to start. Grab our new color thread. I'm going to use lavender. Pull up a loop and chain 2, and then we do 2 double crochets right in this same location. So that's 1, that's 2. We go to the corner, and I want to make sure, hold on, I got these loose ends, that's where I tied in. I want to make sure that they sort of get caught inside. Don't want them coming up to the top, but I want them to get caught in the stitches. We're going to do 3 double crochets here on this corner, and then we're at the very corner, so we do chain 2, and then we need to do 3 more. And I want these stitches to be kind of inside. I want to kind of catch them in my stitches here, so I'm holding them on the back side. Alright, go in the same hole, do 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 3 double crochets. And we have just formed our first corner thread. So do not make a space, just go right into it. 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Next space, 1, 2, 3 double crochets. Next space, this is the corner. 1, 2, 2, 3. We're at the very outermost corner, so we chain 2, and then we do 3 more in the same place because it is the corner. 1, 2, 3. Now re-look at this. That looks a lot straighter. Okay, go into the next, and this is the same as the first square that I showed you. The process is exactly the same. You just keep going until you have your square the size that you want it. So I am going to pause the video and I'm going to finish off this square, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to do another one. I guess you could consider this one lesson 2. Lesson 3 is coming up. I finished the purple. Now I'm going to add green. I like to start on one of the sides. I don't like to start on the corner. So I just pick a place and we begin. Doesn't matter really which place, but I think it's better to start on the side. Chain 2 and then you do 2 double crochets, and that's how you begin your next color, and you just go on to the next space. Don't add any extra stitches between. It doesn't work for this one. And remember, on the corners you do 2 sets of 3 double crochets with 2 chains in between to create that space on the corner. So I'm going to continue this square and finish it before we go on to the next type of square. So this one is a little it's not really that hard once you get the flower down, and it's a whole lot easier doing it with a video. Sometimes reading directions can be hard. I find every time I learn a new pattern and I'm following directions from the usual abbreviations and all that, it's a matter of ciphering it, and sometimes I don't get it right and I have to go back and try again because it's not working out and have to reread it. So I think having a video actually so you can see it and have someone explain it, it seems to help. I did one time, I followed a guy on YouTube on how to make a crochet a particular dress pattern, and it was so helpful to have the video, so I thought it would be useful for somebody. So anyways, let me pause and I will finish this one. So I finished the green. Now I've got one more row. I'm going to add a row of pink, and I just noticed something, and this happens quite often. I have a piece of hair, one of my hairs, I don't know if you can see it, but one of my hairs is right here. I don't know if it'll focus in on that. Can you see that? Sometimes my hair gets crocheted into my work. They say you should put yourself in your work. Well, I do. My hair, usually there'll be several of my hairs in there, but you don't even hardly notice it because my hair is white. So I'm gonna put the last row on and then we'll start the next square. Right, I put my last row on, and because I'm combining 2 different patterns, 2 different designs, the squares weren't coming out to be the same size. So for this one I have to add just a row of single crochet around. So with the same color that I just finished, I'm going to do a single crochet all the way around. So I go underneath those 2 loops, and that's a single crochet. So next stitch, pick up, pull it through 2, and we'll just do this all the way around. The only difference is on the corners we have to add 2 extra chains to allow for that space And this just makes my square so it will line up with the other squares. It's the only problem with when you combine different patterns, then your stitch count might be off and they might not match perfectly. So it's important to that's why I'm doing this extra row, and that's not going to ruin the pattern or anything. Coming down the home stretch, doing single crochets, pick it up, hook and pull through 2, pick it up, hook through, pull through 2. Okay, one more stitch and back to the beginning. Now I just want to slip stitch so that I keep my stitch even, and then we cut, and that just adds a little extra length to my square, and it doesn't really change anything, but I had to do that because the other squares were just a little bit bigger. Right, we're ready to start lesson 3. This design right here, I'm going to show you how to make that type of a square